What's up, everyone? Eli here. Got a video for you today. I got a lot of stuff to do, but for some reason I just really felt like making a video. So that's kind of a good thing. What we're listening to right now is the Prepare to Die demo by Michigan black thrash band Sauron. I stumbled across a couple of these. This is mine from my collection, but I got a couple of these for sale in my distro. Just a few. You probably won't see them after that. I mean, I can't imagine there are tons of them floating around. But yeah, come over to the distro, pick one up. I'll give you one for cheap. That's what we're listening to right now. I think I just said that. And I know I talked about this in my last video, but I just wanted to remind you guys also, before you buy the Sauron tape, pick up the Glorious Dead rehearsal demo from their Bandcamp page. Good shit, good death metal. You won't regret it. Also get this. I'll try to leave a link. I might have shown this in my last video. I don't remember. This is Vrenth. Yeah, I know. It's hard to say. Very dirty, unpolished, unproduced, disgusting death metal off of a new label called Death Metal Cult. Ran by a guy who is associated with Nero One Records. Not the same label boss, but a different guy. Anyways, awesome stuff. Buy both of these, and then if you have any money left, get a Sauron demo. So anyways, I also had an idea where I was going to, if I'm going to show stuff out of my collection, usually I do 10 at a time, but I'm going to up it to 15, just so I can get through it a little quicker. I've been doing collection videos kind of slowly for like 2 years now, probably, and I'm only in the D's, and it's not like I'm in a rush to get it over with or anything, but I just thought 15 would be kind of a nice change of pace. So yeah. Other news. Thinking about starting a Bandcamp page also for my distro, just to get things moving a little faster. I have made a decent amount of sales already in the 2 months I've been doing it, but I have at least probably a good 100 tapes or more that I need to get rid of. So I want to bring in new stock, but I have so much stuff right now. Most of this stuff is like anywhere from 2005 to 2012. Don't quote me on that, but a lot of it's in that range. I want to, like I said, I want to order new releases and stuff like that, but I have so much old stuff right now that it's taken up a lot of room. You know, keeping it organized and everything is a lot of work, and I want to get rid of a lot of this stuff first, and then I can bring new stuff coming in. So I basically have like an ongoing promotion. For now, for every $20 you spend, I'll give you a free tape. Yeah, so anyways, come get some tapes and some coffee. Alright, so now we'll move on to my collection here. 15 CDs, where we left off from last time, I think. Alright, Deceased, Behind the Mourner's Veil. This is an EP, but it's a great EP. This is actually one of my favorite EPs. It's got a lot of stuff. It's got a whole bunch of covers. It's got a DRI cover, Warfare, Tankard, Anthrax. All really, really good covers, by the way. And then it's got a 5-part, like 13 or 15-minute long song. It's called Victims of the Master Plan 1 through 5, and it was based on the West Memphis. What do they call it? West Memphis 3. You know, with the murders and the kids. Yeah. Good song, good lyrics, just a good EP all around. If you can find it, snag it. From what I've heard, I think from what Kevin's told me, Full Metal Ginger, I think he said this one is findable. Some of their stuff is long out of print, but I think he said that one is obtainable. Next we have, this one's very obtainable. You can get this from Hell's Headbangers for like fucking $3. Originally came out on Relapse Records, but this is Supernatural Addiction. Depending on the day and the week and the month that you ask me what my favorite Deceased album is, I've probably told you this before. It changes from time to time, but it's a very good album. It's one of those albums where every band has this album where everyone in the band is happy, everyone's getting along, everyone's feeling inspired, everything's going well. and everything gels into a record, and it just comes out perfect. And that's kind of what that one is. King Fowley even says it's his favorite Deceased record, so there's that too. This is one of their more recent. This is like a couple albums ago, As the Weird Travel On. By this point, they had severed their ties with Relapse. This came out on a label called Thrash Corner, which I vaguely remember hearing about this label. I don't remember what. I don't remember why, or if I bought other releases from them. I don't know. But it's a small ass label. I doubt it exists anymore, but I could be wrong. I don't know why I keep leaning over like I'm gonna fall over or something. Anyways, this one is a different kind of sounding Deceased. I mean, I don't know if that's probably not the right way to say it. It's very much Deceased, but it's got kind of a weird melody, kind of that recurs throughout the album. Put it this way, man, this was the hardest Deceased album for me to get into, and it's by far not my favorite, but it's a Deceased album and it's still very good. I know a lot of people that really like this album, so I mean, don't take what anyone has to say too serious, but yeah, that was always a grower for me. Second to last album they did, this one's fantastic. I thought this one was amazing when it came out, and it still sounds amazing when I listened to it a couple weeks ago. Surreal Overdose. What label were they on when they put this out? 'Cause I thought they were signed to Hell's Headbangers at this time, but I could be wrong. Anyways, this isn't the first pressing of this. This one is the Shrieks from the Hearse, which is one of King Fowley's imprints. But yeah, this is that version, so a second pressing or something like that. I'm pretty sure they were on Hell's Headbangers at this time, but anyways, it was 8 years ago, so I don't really remember too well. Anyways, fantastic album, awesome. Get it if you can. Yeah. And then their most recent album, which came out last year, this was my #1 album of the year. Should be no surprise. Ghostly White. This album is fucking awesome. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a huge Deceased fan. If I didn't think it was awesome, I wouldn't say it was awesome, because I just, I'm not about that shit. But anyway, Hell's Headbangers, of course. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but this album is so good. It also kind of had a unique vibe, I thought, in the Deceased catalog. It kind of had like, there's a kind of a somber feel to the writing and even the riffs, but everything sounds inspired. It's got a very nice, kind of gritty, you know, like a 1980s sounding production, which, you know, fits a band like this perfectly. A band that's been around since the 80s. But yeah, no polished Pro Tools shit here. And a band like this doesn't need to cheat anyway. They've been doing this so long, you know, they're all professionals. Yeah, it's just, this album was a long time coming, man. It was an 8-year gap between these two. If I were to pick between the two, I don't know. I haven't spent as much time with this one. I'll be honest, on the first listen, I thought that if I had to choose, which I don't, I kind of preferred this one, but the more time I spend with Ghostly White, it's kind of edging up, and it's kind of, I think it's about to surpass it. So maybe by next year, I will think this is the superior album. But it doesn't matter. Comparing albums is kind of lame sometimes. I think most of us do it. It's pointless. Yeah, more coffee. Goddamn. All right. Moving on to a new band now. I have 2 albums from this band, and they aren't the ones that I wish that I had, but this album is okay. This is Completely Dehumanized by New York's December Wolves. I like that story, based on the true story of December Wolves. So yeah, December Wolves were a black metal band out of New York. They started off in the mid-90s playing definitely a very second wave Scandinavian, you know, sounding black metal. Really good, man. They had a demo called Wolf Tread, which was awesome. It's never been repressed. I don't know why it's it blows my mind. It's never been repressed. There's got to be a reason for that, because it's a really good demo. And then they put out a full length called. Man, I'm terrible when I put myself on the spot. Anyway, they have a full length. I don't remember the name of it, but it's really good. I don't have it. I need to get it. I always thought that it was kind of hard to find and rare, but I know Brain Smasher picked it up recently. I don't think it was expensive, so I need to go grab that, man. I've wanted it for a long time, and just for some reason it's eluded me. So yeah, this is a pretty good album. It's more of like a modern sounding black thrash, still very caustic, very different from what they did previously, but it's worth getting. It's worth listening to. I think it's a good album. I like playing it from time to time. This was their last album, man. This is not by any means a fan favorite. These came out on Wicked World, by the way. This is a Blasterpiece Theater. I think this one's all right, but it's like an experimental black metal album, I guess. It's loaded with samples and weird sounds and stuff, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I never really clicked with this one. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should go give it a couple more listens. But I've had this for a long time, and I know I've spent a decent amount of time with it. And I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. You've probably heard it. Let me know what you think. Moving on to a different band again. I picked this up not that long ago, and I know when I picked it up and I showed this in a new video, a new music video, I pronounced it wrong. I always pronounce this band wrong. I always say Deceiveron, but it's a Deciverion. Anyways, this came out on Non Compos Mentis. Yeah, I don't know what that. I'm not familiar with that label. But anyway, this band features Kaz Grant from Crucifier, Grand Belial's Key, and then Necrodemius Hammerhorde, who has also been in Crucifier and some other bands. And I'm sorry, man, I'm not familiar with all your stuff at the moment. But anyway, yeah, I've only listened to this album once. It's pretty good. I don't think it's for me. It's not nearly as good as Crucifier and stuff like that. But anyway, it's decent. Yeah. All right, moving on to yet another band. We have last year's Decrepit Birth album, Axis Mundi, with, like always, their Dan Seagrave's weird cover art. So yeah, Decrepit Birth are a death metal band from California. I want to say Long Beach or something like that, but I'm not sure. But definitely Southern California. They've been around quite a while now. They haven't been quite as active in the last couple years as they were earlier on. I'm sure, they're much older now, and they probably have more responsibilities than they did when they started the band. They put out one album that got a decent amount of acclaim. Then they put out a second album that got a whole shitload of attention. People were eating that shit up. I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, man, people were loving it. It's a pretty good album. I like it too. Maybe not as much as people were at the time, and I don't know what those same people are, how they feel about that album now. But man, that was all you guys probably remember. If you were listening to death metal in like 2009, 2010. I mean, that thing was just everywhere. Like, holy shit! I think they were on. Were they on like Willow Tip or something like that? Anyways. This album came out on Nuclear Blast. I think even their last one came out on Nuclear Blast, but I could be wrong on that. Also, this came out in 2017, not 2018. Holy fuck, man. I could have sworn this was a 2018 release, but that doesn't surprise me. But anyways, moving on to the fucking music. God, I could go down a rabbit trail of just nothing, I swear. Pointless blabber. But pretty good album. I bought this. I don't even remember why I bought it. I've never been the biggest Decrepit Birth fan, though I always kind of have liked them. I think it was just kind of in the mood. Like, I had been listening so much, old sounding death metal. Like, let's get something a little more modern. And it's a fucking good album, man. I mean, it sounds very much like the Decrepit Birth you remember and loved. A very worthy follow-up to, you know, their last two albums. Same sound, same. I mean, it's. I don't want to say it sounds like the same album, but it's. You know, it's a band that can, from what I can tell, it's a band that can go, you know, 5 years or whatever without releasing an album and just pick up right where they left off, which is cool because a lot of bands can't fucking do that. A lot of bands take 5 years off and they come back just sounding like not even the same guys. So, and I got to give them credit for that. Very good album. If you're into, you know, the more modern, it's not. When I say more modern death metal, I'm saying if you're used to only listening to like, you know, 90s shit like that, and you know, it's a little bit more modern flair. It's more technical. You know, kind of got this band got lumped in the whole like brutal technical death, you know, labels, but they also sound quite a bit like Death. I always thought they had a very strong Death influence in all their music. So I mean, if you're open-minded a little bit with death metal and you don't only listen to 90s stuff, then, you know, give them a shot. I think you'll probably like them. I think they're one of the more modern style bands that you know, older death metal fans can you know, grasp onto. Got a couple albums here from Deeds of Flesh, which is cool. I kind of wish I had more, but I really only like their older stuff. So that's kind of what I have here. Where did I get this, by the way? You ever look at an album and, like, a lot of my CDs I can look at and I can literally remember where I got it, when I got it. You know, I don't remember where or when I got this one, but I knew I had it. But anyways, Inbreeding the Anthrophagy. The nice, creepy John Zig cover art there. This came out on Repulse Records out of Spain in '98. This is not their first album, but it's pretty early on. I want to say second or third release. And yeah, it's got typical, well, I don't want to say typical, but it's got gross stuff on the inside, you know, like death metal should. The album is in memory of Josh Jagger of Infamy, a great supporter of, man, I don't know who Infamy is. Sorry, Josh, I'll have to look you up. But anyways, yeah, this album is fantastic. This is also one of those bands, you know, late 90s to early 2000s, you know, brutal death metal, you know, kind of scene that they had going on. I'm very hit and miss with a lot of that stuff. I'm not the biggest brutal death fan, although I've kind of always wanted to try to get into it. In fact, I have a stack of brutal death metal CDs over there that I'm going to show soon. I got them in a trade with a buddy of mine. He literally had stuff he wanted to trade. All it was brutal death metal. So I'm like, all right, you know, let's give this a go. But anyway, if you're gonna go for brutal death metal, I mean, Deeds of Flesh are top notch, man. You know, I think these guys are, you know, the kind of the rightful heirs to the throne of, you know, Suffocation. I think what they do just as well as Suffocation ever did. So. And which is, you know, probably, you know, the reason why they're considered a very classic band to this day. But yeah, I wouldn't mind picking up their earliest stuff. This is the last album I have from them, and the oldest one I have from them, or I mean, the more recent one I have from them. This came out in 2000, so it came out after that on Unique Leader. So we got Path of Awakening. I picked this one up first, way before that one. I've had this one for fucking ever. I've probably had this since 2000. That one I probably only picked up maybe 5 years ago or so. But yeah, this album is very Suffocation sounding. I don't mean to be insulting when I say that. I mean, a lot of bands are influenced by Suffocation, and I would imagine most of them are willing to admit it. But anyways, like I said, not only do they sound like Suffocation, they play death metal. They do it just as well as Suffocation do, which is why, you know, they're considered such a classic band. All right, we have a couple more now. We have 2 more bands to show. 4 CDs, 2 bands. Let me refill here. digging the Sauron demo, man. It is as raw as it gets. I mean, this is literally, this is not a recorded in a studio demo. This is this is a home recording job, I'm sure. It's good. I mean, Sauron would go on to be a much better band than this, of course. Their full lengths are fucking awesome, but for what it is, this is a cool little demo. Anyways, all right, we have Deep Purple. I'm not the biggest Deep Purple fan. I like them, but I like them, I'm just not a big fan. I mean, if I'd have gotten into Deep Purple at a younger age, if I'd have found these guys when I was a teenager, 15, 16, I think I would have really loved them. Like if I'd have discovered them when I discovered Sabbath, but I didn't. I didn't get any Deep Purple albums until I was probably in my late 20s. So I like listening to them from time to time, but I'm just not that big a fan. And I say that with a little bit of reluctance. Fuck it. Anyways, I wish I liked them more, basically. So yeah, we'll get into the ones that I have. If there are any Deep Purple, mega fans out there, go ahead and tell me what a idiot I am. Recommend some shit to me. But what I have is Fireball. I think it's a pretty decent album. It's got some songs on here that I don't like at all, but it's all right. Well, okay, what year did this come out? This came out in 71, so it's pretty heavy for 71. Then I have Machine Head. Fuck, everyone has Machine Head. I mean, your mom probably has Machine Head. But it's a good album nonetheless. 72, so it came out. This is back when rock bands would literally put out an album every year. You remember that shit? There have been some instances where, like, I think Kiss did it, where they put out 2 albums in the same year. Like, they'll put out an album in January and then one in, like, October, which is fucking crazy. But anyway, 72, so right after that, I do think this one is definitely a classic proto-metal album. Obviously, everyone knows Smoke on the Water, Space Truckin', and Highway Star. But Highway Star, for me, I always thought was a really cool song because it's got Ian Gillan doing, heavy metal vocals really before anyone else was doing it. Like that scream that he does at the beginning of the song. That would be something that, Jeff Tate would go on to do, and Rob Halford would go on to do, and I mean, Ian Gillan he did it before they did, so I thought that was cool. I always thought that was kind of a cool, milestone. And it's a good album. It's a good heavy album. I mean, this thing can sit with very comfortably with a lot of Sabbath albums. Of course, Richie Blackmore was always a really cool guitarist, and yeah, I got one more Deep Purple album. When did this one come out? 84. Oh, yeah. This is actually probably my favorite Deep Purple album, and I think the reason that is because my dad had this when I was growing up, and I don't remember him having any other Deep Purple albums, but he had this one, and that's kind of how I got into music, because I would always steal his tapes, and I'd go listen to them, and sometimes I'd give them back, sometimes I wouldn't. But, so he had this one, Perfect Strangers. Yeah. This is a... I can't really speak to the history of this one the way that some people can, but it was considered a comeback album at the time. I don't know where they went or how long they were gone for. I don't know. Were they disbanded? That's just the history that I know. My older buddies can chime in and school me on this one, but a lot of people will say, if you read up on this album, they'll say this is the best comeback album of all time, or certainly one of the best. So that's what I know about it. But like I said, it's always been my favorite. The title track, Perfect Strangers, so good, man, so good. I love the, those proggy keyboard parts, and it's a heavy song, and yeah, it's awesome, awesome album. I probably should get more Deep Purple. Let me know what I should get and why I should get it. We have one more, not a Deep Purple album, but we have one more CD. This is kind of an oddball in my collection in a way. I'm not the biggest grind fan, but I have always been a pretty big Napalm Death fan, so I have the second Defecation album, Intention Surpassed, complete with terrible cover art. what is that, man? It's like one of those robots you build out of those metal things. Those remember those like metal toy? They were like Legos, but they were metal. I don't know. My parents couldn't afford that shit. This came out in 2003 on Nuclear Blast. If you don't know much about Defecation, this is Mitch Harris from Napalm Death and Righteous Pigs and, you know, all that stuff. But anyways, he did everything here. He played the drums, the guitar, the bass, and did the vocals, which isn't too surprising. I mean, he's done backing vocals for Napalm Death for a long time, and obviously he's their guitarist. But you know, drums and bass also. That's pretty cool. I have heard the first album, which came out in, was it late 80s or was it early 90s? I can't remember. I don't have it. That one is considered an all-time classic. I've never really seen much mention of this album. I've heard some of like the older fans say that this album sucks. As a not real big grindcore fan, I don't really get that, because I've listened to this a bunch and I think it's pretty good, and I've listened to the first album too, and I don't see what makes this a shitty album even compared to the first one. I don't know. To me, it sounds pretty fucking good, even compared to their first album. So I don't know what the hatred is all about. But anyways, like I said, it's been kind of an oddball in my collection because I have very little grind stuff. I have a lot of Napalm Death, and I have a small handful of other grind bands, and I'm just not the biggest fan. But I like Mitch Harris, and I think it's a pretty good album. I probably should pick up that first album as well. That'd be cool to have. It's a definite classic. And okay, I think that's it. I think I've said my piece, and I will let you guys go. If anyone's still watching, I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. We'll talk soon. Talk to me about Deep Purple, about Deceased, about Deeds of Flesh, Decrepit Birth, any of these. Let's talk about it. Yeah, cheers.